You are listening to Insights with Kathleen. Please join me while I share my insights and experiences with the hope to inspire you to look inside of yourself for the answers that you already have. As with all information we receive, take what speaks to you and leave the rest. Welcome back to Insights with Kathleen. I'm so glad you could be here with us today. And we have Sherry back in the house.
Yes, I am. I'm here. It's funny when you say back in as if I'm leaving because we all know I am not leaving.
You say that every time.
I know. I just want to let you guys know I'm here. I'm co-hosting. I'm here to stay.
Woohoo!
I love it over here.
Well, we love having you.
You know, we were just doing some grounding before we started the episode. And I don't know if this happens to you, Mom, but like, I'm glad you don't look at me when I'm doing like our grounding because I make the weirdest faces. I get like, my body gets all intense. I don't know what it is, but like grounding's great. It calms me down kind of.
Yeah, well, you move a lot of energy whether you realize it or not.
Who, me or just people?
You. Well, all of us had the potential to do that. But I think that for you just seem to be more open to it. Kind of like our last episode, we were talking about feeling the feels, and you've been doing a really good job of doing that, of feeling the feels.
Feeling
and then when you get really good at doing that, you become more sensitive to the energy around you. Not a bad thing.
Gosh, yeah.
Not a bad thing at all. It's just, what do you do with it? And then I think when we're grounding and you're feeling, especially because what we're doing is we're grounding, but we're also calling in energy.
Oh,
right?
I know.
Light energy.
Right?
And when that energy comes in, it kind of electrifies you a little bit. So,
it does.
So you're more responsive to it. And that's where
I
the
like
jigglies come
jolt.
in and the faces and whatnot. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just how you process it.
And, it's funny because you were talking about like last week. You're like, Sherry, you're like really good at feeling the feels. I'm going to tell you this week, guys, I got a slice of humble pie. I was having a very big, I was having a lot of trouble with it this week for some reason. Should I share?
Please
Should I go on?
Go on.
All right. I'm going to try to say this as eloquently.
Blah, 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 blah,
I'm just trying to say this as like plainly as possible because I kind of got tripped up on my words when I was first telling you about it. But pretty much it's kind of like, for some reason in my body, I just feel like if it's not me personally, like the world's going through a transition, I'm going through a transition, everyone around me is going through a transition, and I feel that. Mm-hmm. That's just what I feel. I have no idea why I feel that, but I'm just like, I know everything's gonna change, whether drastically or slightly, and it's weird because I'm very aware of that, and I guess I'm anxious because I'm just like, what is the transition though? Because I know it's there, but I don't know what it is. And for me, I do a podcast called That's Enough Sherry, and my camera, my iPhone wasn't really working to record the episodes. I had to invest in a camcorder, and there was just a bunch of, yes.
You didn't have to, but you wanted to.
Sorry, nobody put a gun to my head. I wanted to buy a camcorder because something in my gut was telling me, Sherry, you're going to transition. Well, not like that. I'm going to transition into something new, and you're going to need this camcorder. And I guess my big thing is, not just with the camcorder, but just different people I'm going to be seeing and different stuff like that. And my question to you is how do you brace for that? Because I think I'm somewhat of a person who's resistant to change. Mm-hmm. I'll admit it. I'm really bad at it. And I just know things are going to change with my friendships, with just these other different things in general. And I'm just kind of like, this is too much.
Well, I'm kind of sitting over here chuckling a little bit at your freezing.
Yes.
How do I brace for it?
Yeah.
Right. So to me, what that feels like is that you're already setting yourself up to resist it.
Yeah.
Right. So do you feel that too? Is that fair to say?
I am. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think with first of all, I want to validate you on what you're feeling.
Yeah.
Right? So you kind of are feeling what everyone else is feeling.
Yeah.
And if we really look at what's today? Today is inauguration day, right?
Mm-hmm.
So leading up to it, a lot of people were anticipating change.
Yeah.
Transition.
Exactly. Yeah.
And what are we going to expect? And a certain amount of fear could creep in because of the unknown.
Yeah.
What I like to encourage people to do is to look at it like it's an adventure.
That's fun.
Right? So you're going on the roller coaster, you kind of have a idea that the roller coaster is going to go up and it's going to go down and it's going to kind of bend and it's going to go around, and you kind of know that it's going to go fast, and you kind of see it when you're standing in line. But then when you get on there, and then that anticipation, there's a level of excitement, there's a little bit of fear, But there's a level of excitement.
Oh, for sure,
But a little bit of fear.
Yeah.
But a lot of excitement, right?
Up and down.
Right. And as you're climbing the hill and you're getting closer and you're getting closer to the very top, and then your stomach's going to drop because it's going to drop and it's going to come down around and it's going to go around and it's going to go like this and it's going to do all this.
Yeah.
But it's still an adventure and you're still getting in line for that roller coaster.
Oh, for sure.
So that's why I like to encourage people to see it like an adventure. If the roller coaster idea works for you, see it like that. Not roller coaster going down and around as if that's a bad thing and you're going to run into all of these obstacles.
For sure.
As much as I just mean like when you're, for some people, when you drop and your stomach drops, it's kind of like a stomach tickle and it's kind of like, let's do that again.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what I mean by that. And just even the bends and being all thrown around. Personally, I don't do roller coasters because they just hurt me too much. But
I thought you would anticipate the adventure. Come on now.
But I do love the level of excitement that those who really do enjoy them, that they get. And that's why I like to use that analogy.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So when we don't really know what the outcome can be, the human in us could certainly transition right into fear.
Yeah.
And resistance because, and you said it, I don't really like change.
I don't. And,
And why don't you like change?
I think it's because for the longest, this is going to sound a little ridiculous, but for the longest time, when I was, I didn't know what I wanted to be when I was older. I didn't know what I wanted to go to college for. I was going to originally go for psychology. And for the longest time, I was like such a cynic about like entertainers and YouTubers. And I'm like, I would never put music on YouTube. I would never write music. I would always make fun of these things. And God has a funny sense of humor. It's like, oh, you're going to do that. And I guess for the longest time, I was resistant to making like, sketch comedy or like anything in video, because that's why I started doing a podcast in the first place. I was so afraid of stepping into myself, like stepping out of my comfort zone and doing it. And like sometimes, I don't know if this has happened to you, but have you ever been scared to do something like, let's take this podcast, for example. I don't know. I'm not.
That's not a setup at all, is it?
No, say if somebody, an individual came up to you and be like, you're going to do a podcast. Like, you're very wise. Like, I can see that in your future. And you're just kind of like, yes, I would like to, but I'm kind of scared to do it because I don't know even the first place to do it. I don't know if I can handle it. I don't know. But you want to do it, and somewhere in your heart of hearts that it would be something that would be beneficial to you.
So if you're going to use me as an example, let's just clarify a little, okay?
Okay, give me some clarity.
So, and let's see if this just resonates to you.
All right.
So I knew in my heart of hearts that I wanted to share with anybody who was open to it.
Yeah.
What I know.
Yeah.
Because I know stuff.
Yeah, you do know stuff.
I know stuff.
You know a lot of stuff. 8 episodes worth.
So far, anyway, and hopefully somebody's still listening.
Yeah.
And trying to decide what's the best way to do that. How do I do that? And how do I be responsible in doing that? So that's the trepidation that comes with doing it. And then what is the right way to do it?
Oh, yeah.
Right? And then you battle, as the human inside of you battles with what level of judgment am I going to receive? And then how am I going to respond to that?
Okay.
So this is the part where I want to know if it resonates with you. Do you feel that pushing yourself out of the comfort zone, if the level of comfort or discomfort comes from the not knowing what the outcome will be, or is it in part because you're afraid of how you may be judged?
It's weird that you mentioned that, because it's funny because what you said helped me springboard as to why I am having trepidation with like starting this project and expanding more on YouTube and being excited about the webcam or the camcorder. And I think my biggest thing is, I think you said in a podcast, you said it a couple podcasts ago about how you had like this lovely friend and you loved her and she was like always late to everything because she was always trying to please everyone. And I feel like I'm that friend. I can be that person at times who takes on way too many projects that I can handle. And I guess for me, my fear of like expanding into YouTube and doing more videos is kind of like oh God, I'm so scared I'm going to repeat my old habits. Because even in college, like I was that person, everyone's like, hey, Sherry, do you want to sign up for this? And I said yes. So I think, what did I end up doing? So I ended up hosting 3 radio shows, 4 classes, 2 jobs, a play.
I'm tired.
Exactly, a play. What did I do? I was vice president of a club, and I just did all these different things on top of being concussed. So, not that I'm that person anymore, but I guess part of me still has that fear of when I was that person.
So maybe it is that older version that's trying to pop through to protect you.
Yeah.
And that's that little voice in the back of your head. And so maybe you just need to give your brain a little bit of a hug.
Give it a hug.
Give it a little hug and just say, you know what, we have this.
We got this.
I'm a different person now.
Yeah.
I'm wiser. Thank you. You know, so here's a hug for you. Go sit over there. The thing is, as we grow and we have more of these experiences, and we know, it's not just about discovering what you like; it's discovering what you don't like.
Yes.
And I believe that you've had this experience, and you've decided that to be that crazy and that overextended is something that you don't necessarily want.
I don't like it. No.
And you don't want it.
I don't want it.
So,
I don't recommend it, guys.
So that's fine. So that's part of loving you.
Yeah.
Is choosing what lights you up more over something else. And then just dedicating yourself towards that one avenue. The one thing I absolutely admire about you, Sherry, is that you're welcome. Is that you're always up for the creative adventure. You're always up well, I'm going to try this. Yeah, this is kind of a little scary, but I'm going to try it.
Yeah.
And then, you know, and you get really into it. And it's exciting. And I don't know about those who are listening, if they could feel that excitement. Because, like, when I talk with you, I'm like, oh, my goodness, she just lights me up and gets my energy going.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Not that it's your responsibility, by the way, to keep our energies up. But it's just it's a byproduct. Right?
Yeah, that's the perfect way to put it.
So the best thing you can do for yourself is just to schedule out your time a little bit, like because I know you still have other things that need your attention, and just make sure you have that dedicated time for those things because they're short. You know, once you accomplish certain things, those go away, and then you open yourself up for more time where then you can expand.
For sure. You know what? You're right. You're right. Because for some reason, again, with these seasons and transitions, because I love doing my podcast and I'll still keep doing my podcast, but my focus might shift a little more to video media, which is always something I've been so scared of. I'm like, I can't do it because I don't know about you guys listening, but have you ever like needed to know how to do something and you look up on YouTube or you look on Google and it looks so complicated? That is like, I hate it. I don't know. I'm the worst with that. So I'm just like, no, I'm never going to do video ever. Only audio until something's like, hey, why don't you do video anyway? So now I'm like, ooh, we're going on this journey and I don't know where it's going to go, but I'm like kind of excited.
Well, that's good.
Thank you.
Because it's that excitement that's helping to propel you forward, right? It's getting on the raft and just floating down the river and seeing where you end up. And if you come up to an obstacle like a rock, just watch how the water goes around it and it'll just take your raft right around it.
You're right. You're right. And you know, when I do think about this of like, oh, maybe I should do video, maybe I should not, I feel like, yes, I could be complacent and be like, you know what? I'm going to reject it and just not do video. I'm just going to do podcasts. But how would I grow as a person?
Right. And then the world would be missing out.
Oh, thank you. Gosh. Well, yeah, you know, that's why I'm just like, you know what? I got to put myself forward. So even though I'm very, very scared, I'm just going to.
Well, yeah. And some of it, too, I mean, it's not to say that everything that scares you, you should just push right through it.
Oh, God,
and just do
no.
it, right?
No.
So I just want to throw that out there, too, is it's do the full check-in. Mm-hmm. Like you were explaining at our last podcast, episode 7.
Body scans.
Yeah, do the body scan. How does it feel? Like you're thinking about this new adventure and you're thinking about taking a step into the unknown and stretching yourself a bit, right? Because in stretching yourself and doing something new, it keeps you young.
I know, that's why you look so young.
I know. No, really.
Yeah, you really do.
Anyway, so
she's modest, guys. She is.
So, not really, but do that full check-in with your body and how does it feel in your body? Like how does your gut feel? What's your heart telling you?
Everything.
Your mind, though, is the last one to check in with.
Yes.
Your mind is good for setting the schedules, for setting the routine, you know, and looking at it that way. But how does it feel in your heart? And then how does it feel in your gut? and just start from there. And are you safe? And is this loving of you? And is this loving of others? Those are all good gauges.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you still feel a little scared, then I encourage you to take the step. Just do it. What's the worst can happen? You can just be like, okay, so that wasn't for me.
That sucked. And then we move on.
But the value of that is that now that goes into that list of, okay, so I tried that. That wasn't for me, which then also sends a message to the universe that there's something else for you.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, I think you're right. You just got to check in with your body and stuff like that, because my mind is always like, we're scared, Sherry, we're scared. But in my heart of hearts, I'm like, man, I would love to make video content, because I did it like when I was in college. I did it when I was in high school, and I just had the funnest time. I had such a fun time.
Better English.
Funnerest time. I had such a fun time doing it. And probably an example for me of something that I liked, but was something I wouldn't pursue, is acting, which is like, interesting.
That's right up your alley.
Like, it's funny just because, like, I don't know, I didn't like acting in dramatic plays, but you want to know what really resonated with me? Comedy plays. Surprise, surprise. I had to play this boy crazed woman. Isn't that?
Wow.
I was really.
Oh, I did see that one.
Yeah, you saw that? You were there?
I was.
No, you weren't.
I think I was.
That I acted in?
A
Huh.
play at the community college. Is that the play you're talking about? That's where I met your father. And I believe your mother for the first time.
Wow. I don't remember you being there.
I was the loudest clapper.
That
How
was
could you
you.
not know that?
Much appreciated, Mom. Much appreciated. I just didn't.
You were pretty talented there. By the way.
Thank you. You should have just
I would have
jumped.
thought you were straight.
Really?
For sure.
Yeah, a lot of people thought I was, and I was like, wow, my acting's really good. My gosh. So that was something I was like, wow, plays, okay, but like comedy plays right up my alley. I love comedic timing. I just love stuff like that.
It is a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's why it did not surprise me in the least when you're like, I used to act in plays. I'm like, no, really? That didn't shock me at all. But yeah, I just remember the only reason why I was like feeling so good about this video thing is like, you never get like, not premonitions of or people just like saying it. So like before, people would be like, oh, Sherry, you should start a YouTube channel. Or like, oh, Sherry, you should do some comedy skits on YouTube. And like people would just plant these little seeds until push comes to shove. My iPhone isn't really working. It's just like, all right, we're going to start some videos. And I'm like, oh, we're scared.
Well, I'm very excited to see how this turns out for you. Just to hear about the experience.
Thanks. If you ever want to be featured, you let me know.
Oh, I'll let you know. Really, for sure. Just to go a little bit more into the transition piece, because we were also talking about how you can feel that on other people.
Yes.
Like people seem to be a little unsettled.
Yeah.
There seems to be like a little more unsure. My better English, unsuredness.
They're very unsure.
Yeah, I'll make up some words. And it's all real because, we're coming off of 2020 and everyone keeps talking about, it's like nothing we've ever lived through before and on and on. And it was a great adventure. I'm not saying it wasn't hard for people, and I'm not saying that it wasn't challenging and that people didn't lose people. So please know that, but it still was an adventure.
It was definitely something. Yeah.
And I've said it before that this year that we're stepping out of was a groundbreaking year. It really forced
history books are going to be fat.
Well, I don't know about that, but what I mean is that it's really pushed across the world people to learn how to do things differently.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And then to see, so it was kind of like we were forced to go into this other direction that we were probably dragging our feet or possibly dragging our feet on.
Yeah.
And I'm just talking about the use of technology, looking differently at how we work, the different businesses that have popped up because of it and taking advantage of it.
You go, guys.
And then for 2021, it's still like a continuation of that as we're waiting for vaccines to come through, as we're waiting, for these things to start transitioning back and into a new normal. because that's what it's going to be. It's into a new normal. And I think people are feeling that. And I think that to some extent that scares people.
Yeah, for sure.
And I hope that if you're scared and you're listening to us about any of this that's going on, I just want to send you a great big hug. And just know that it's all going to be okay. Yeah. No matter what your situation is, it really is going to be okay. Because the truth is, you are bigger than anything that is happening to you. Mm-hmm. You really are bigger than anything that is happening to you or could be happening to you.
I do like that sentiment.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I really like that. And I think you're right. 2020, a lot of people have a lot of opinions on it, but I know it personally helped me to like just grow. it shot me up. It was just like, all right, like not to say I was like isolated because I was with my family, but I guess it helped me prioritize like what is important and what like self-improvement as to what I need to do. And I think if it wasn't for that, I probably would have been like, like growing, but growing at my slower pace that I was going. Mm-hmm. But because I was like, I'm in my house. All right, what do I want to do? What's important to me? How do I want to prioritize things? And it's just like, whoa, we're going to just grow. And it's kind of like what my pastor said many, many years ago. Everyone's like tea bags.
Oh man.
Everyone's like tea bags. We all look the same, but you dip us in hot water and all the colors flow. And,
nice.
And I think that's kind of what this has been for a lot of people, because I think, everyone's got a lot of circumstances going on with that, and I would never belittle that. But I know I have some people at like, where I work come in my line, like customers, and like almost similar things will have happened to them, but they have such different like outlooks on it. So it's just very interesting to see how people have like grown and changed because of this. So.
Yeah. And I think for me too, going through this experience, is that it is very interesting to see how different people respond differently.
Oh yeah.
Or how that looks on them, and then it actually gives you insights into really where they are as a human being.
Yes.
Right. Not as a soul, but as a human being. Just exactly where they are and what they're struggling with. Sherry was laughing at me earlier today because Sherry works in a supermarket. I hope that's okay.
That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Sherry works in a supermarket, and I just happened to be in that supermarket the other night, and I don't shop there on a regular basis.
She never shops there, guys. Never.
Hey, I have a rewards card, so I shopped there enough for that.
All right. You only have to show up once for that, but whatever.
Anyway, as I'm waiting in Sherry's line, there's a gentleman that's standing behind me, and he is just grumbly.
Okay.
And just so heavy. And you can just see it. You can feel it on him before you even start talking to him.
Yeah.
From his posture, from the way that he's moving, just even from the items in his cart.
Yeah.
Like you could take this full-on assessment, right? So like I already know that I need to brighten my light.
Oh yes, you did.
I need to totally just push my energy out so that I can just totally encompass everything. So all of the source flow coming through me and just pushing it out and really brighten that corner and invite him into the light, if you will.
Yeah, no,
I know it sounds
course.
so weird, but this is kind of like the little game I play in my head.
Yeah.
Because I don't want my energy to pull down with his. I would rather his pull
Bring
up
it
with
up.
me.
I love when you do that.
Right? Because and we all have this. We all have access to this, to angels and to spirit guides and
unicorns
and dragons. Yes, for sure. Don't forget the fairies and the elementals. No.
Yes. The Pegasus.
And so anyway, as he starts talking to me, in the language that he's choosing, and like I'm kind of like gently giving him like these little checks, like, well, here's another way we could say that. And then he'd look at me and I'm like, I said, doesn't that feel better? And he's like, not quite sure. And he goes, what? What are you saying to me? So I would just repeat it louder and slowly. And then there's people walking by us and they're chuckling.
I was laughing.
But by the time I left him, he felt lighter.
He did.
Right?
He did, actually.
So he transitioned into lightness, and sometimes it just takes us just a little bit of our time and just a little bit of our effort to help somebody transition from that lower place, because they're struggling with so many changes. They're struggling with, oh, I got to wear a mask now. They're struggling with, oh my goodness, this is another thing.
Yeah.
Oh, what are these people thinking? And then all this negativity starts coming in, and I'm just not having it.
Honestly, I
I'm
get
just
that.
gonna kill it with love.
That's what I try. That's what I try to do. It's funny because like listen, let me tell you something I admire about you. I don't know. I mean, you probably know this, but your energy is just like very bright. And I love that, because that's how I knew you were in the store. I didn't even need to look at you to know you were there. That's why you were there. I was shocked. And then I looked at you, because your energy is just very bright. And I love that. I love that so much. It made my day. So not only was it super bright, but this woman is like hamming it up in the store. She's like talking to whatever's moving. She's making small talk. She's like goofing. And I just love it, because like you have this saying that you tell me and you tell other people, like, when you fully step into yourself, you'll truly be like, whoa, money. And I think you've like truly stepped into yourself, and I just admire that, because I love that. That's why when you were talking to all the people in line and talking to the floor and whatever, I was just laughing, because I'm like, that's just her. She's not even putting anything on. That's 100% her. And not only that, with the person you were talking to earlier on my line, like I know that person, that's a regular, so I know all about him, and I like did a scan on him. And it was funny because when you were talking to him, I knew that's what he needed to hear, because I know him so well. And I like, I just like said, whatever. And you're like, oh, I knew just by, and I'm like, oh, you sly dog. You and your big fat energy blowing up my line, just giving insights. And then she gave him advice, and I was like, and that was Insights with Kathleen.
Yeah, you did. That was really good.
And I was like, that's how she does it. I love that. I love when you fully step into yourself, because it's just, I don't know. It's just cool. I like how you do that. I want to do that.
Well, we all can do that, right? It is about being comfortable with who you are.
Okay.
And I'll tell you, I am the goofiest person I know.
You really is.
And I make the most mistakes of anybody that I know. So, I was just sharing this with my daughter the other day, that I've noticed even more so.
Yeah.
That like when I drop something, or I crash something, or I break something, or I stub my toe, and in the past it would have been son of a
yeah,
and it'll be all that
barking.
cussing and
some barking,
yeah. Or even just like when my kids were little, instead of just saying these really nasty curse words, because I never wanted to hear them come back at me, it was sugar plum fairies.
Wow, you intimidate sugar plum fairies.
But what I've been noticing is, of late, when those things happen, I just start cracking up. Like, I'm just like laughing at me. I'm like, okay, this is kind of funny. This is kind of funny, stupid. And then when I'm in the store, sometimes I'll like just start talking to somebody and they don't hear me. Yeah. And then like when I was younger, I would just feel so stupid and dorky. Like, oh my goodness, I'm so embarrassed they didn't hear me.
Oh my God.
And I just said that. No. Oh, did somebody else passing by heard me say something and didn't hear and saw that person didn't hear me?
Yeah, I meet a lot of young women like that, or just young people in general. Yeah. And
so transitioning out of that into this that I am today, which will not be here tomorrow, but this person that I am right here, right now, in this moment.
Oh, I was going to say, where are you going?
Well, that's a whole nother story. But about how we're different. Every day we're a different person.
Yes.
Because of the experiences that we gained from the previous day. It makes us different. So being this person that I am here in this moment, I don't care. I'll just talk to whomever. I'll talk to myself. I don't care who hears me. If it just tickles my fancy, that's what's happening. But in the store, as you were explaining before I made it to your line, I happened to go down this one line and I don't know if it's because I was bright or if it was just an opportunity. But this elderly woman, now I know I'm old, but this woman who's older than me. I used to laugh with my aunt when she was in her 60s and she was going to help the elderly, and of course, I'm like way younger than her, thinking, oh, isn't she cute? She's old and she's going to go help the elderly.
But you're
Anyway,
not.
Sorry.
That's funny.
I'm sorry.
No, that made me laugh.
That was a sidebar. But there's this elderly woman just all of a sudden starts talking to me about how she can't find something in the freezer section, and it's just not there.
Your light was bright. You don't work there.
But it wasn't that she wanted me to find it for her. She just wanted to be heard and seen.
Aw.
Right? So a lot of times when we come across those people,
Yeah.
wherever we are, a lot of times they just want to be heard and seen. And so that's just really what you saw me doing, is just letting people have some airtime. You know, I want you to know that I see you and I hear you and that you matter.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. I love that because your light's so bright, and I love it so much. And I don't know, for some reason, have you ever been like drawn to someone? And I'm not talking like a romantic way, but something's telling you like, go talk to that person or something.
Mm-hmm.
So there's somebody that I work with, and for the longest time, something was like, go talk to her. And I'm like, well, this person doesn't talk very much, and I don't want to be all up in their grill. And for some reason, something was like pushing me, not to be aggressive, but just like, hey, how you doing? Just like talking about their day. Now they've been more talkative with me. Where was I going with this story? Oh yeah, so
Now we're just chatting.
no, I didn't. Well, the thing is, right? Because like, you know, I'm in my head and I don't realize what's going on in people's heads. And I didn't realize. So for some reason, she would come into work and clock in. And my brain was discerning like, hey, should we go talk to her? My gut's like, hey, go talk to her. My brain's like, no, we can't. So I guess I would stare at her. And like, I got to talking to her. And she's like, yeah, you'd stare at me a lot. And I'm like, I did. I'm so sorry. She's like, yeah, I just thought you were like talking crap about me. I was like, no, I just thought you were really pretty and your makeup was nice. And she's like, oh, that's so nice. But I just find it funny because I just sometimes get these pulls to talk to people. But I think people get pulled to talk to you because you're bright. You're bright. Your energy's so bright.
Well, it's you talk about we're talking about transitions, right?
Yeah,
so,
transitions.
So as younger and kind of like what you were saying, like I would feel like a little tug, or my heart would be open, and just misunderstanding sometimes of even what that means.
Right? It's hard.
And then the next thing you know, these people are showing up. And I had to learn and transition to the fact that it's because my heart is so open that people who really need that extra hug, or they just need that extra warmth, then they're either put in my path, or they make their way there.
Yeah.
And I'm not the only person that has that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think anyone who's shining their light bright has that same capacity. And then you may be finding more and more individuals who are like, you're kind of like looking sideways like, why are these people talking to me? Mm-hmm. And that's why, because they can feel the warmth, they can feel the love that you fully stepped into and that you're embracing, and they just want to feel it. And the key is just, to make sure you respect and love yourself enough to set boundaries on all
Boundaries
avenues.
are important, guys. We talked about this.
Yes. But there's nothing wrong with, just staying in your power and allowing them that moment.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And you'd be amazed at how somebody can transition just from spending 30 seconds from you, or just walking past you. Like, they don't even really have to talk. They could just be walking past you. And because you're showing up so fully as you, you're giving a gift that you didn't even know that you gave. And kind of like you, which I have to go back to your story, because for me, if it was me being caught staring at somebody and having this whole conflict going on inside of me with the brain, the heart, and the gut, I would have just looked at him and said, yeah, you did catch me staring at you. But really what was going on is that I was in battle, internal battle. My brain was arguing with my heart, and then it was arguing, and then my heart and my gut teamed up on my brain, and it was just saying, you need to open up your mouth, girl. That would kind of make you crazy, right?
Yeah, because I'd be like, because at the time, honestly, I had no clue. I was like, maybe I just have a crush on this person. I don't know. And then like after a week or so of that, I'd be like, hey, how are you doing? And like I would find her everywhere in the store and be like, you know what? I have to do my daily rounds of bothering you. So hi, how are you doing? And like funny enough, for someone who's like so closed off and so quiet, like the more I talked to her, the more she was like very, very open with me about her personal life and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm doing the right thing. I guess I'm stepping in at the right time for this particular person.
And who knows, maybe by you doing that and inviting her to show up, you're helping her to transition into something.
Which is cool. I love that.
Isn't that cool that we can partner with each other? It's a collaboration.
It is nice. I do like thinking of it as like, a collaboration. My favorite thing I love to do, and people make fun of me, is like I went to community college and it was for 4 years, and I always talk about it as like 4 seasons of a TV show because that's the only way I could describe it. First, second, third, fourth, whatever season. And now Sherry has her own spin-off and she's doing the spiritual thing over here. And now I guess for myself, I'm just like, Sherry, I know you're doing the podcast thing, but you're going to do the YouTube thing. And I'm like, all right, we're jumping in. We are going to be doing this. I feel a lot better now talking about it because I had the internal conflict for like a week. And I was like, my favorite thing that my friend always tells me that you apparently always say is the road to suffering is resistance and 2 other things you said. What are they?
So resistance, attachment, expectations.
Can you like write that on a shirt? Because that's all the things that I was doing right now in that week, and I was suffering hardcore. Yeah, because I was like, this is what I expected to be, and I'm like resisting the change because I already know I'm going to be going in the TV field because my major is that anyway, and attachments to like, oh gosh, that Sherry from like 2 years ago that did a bunch of stuff and was very overwhelmed with herself. She's going to go do that again. And I guess it was just a culmination of that. I had like a constipated amount of emotions. So I was just trying to sift through.
I think you did a really good job.
Thank you. This podcast helped.
Oh, why, thank you.
With your beautiful insights with Kathleen.
Well, I really appreciate it. Thanks again for bringing up a topic for us to talk about and to work through and to share. I really appreciate you.
You know what? I appreciate you bringing the topic to me last week and me trying to square my way through it. I appreciate that. But yeah, I just think a lot of transitions going, but you made it sound less scary. You made it sound like a roller coaster that apparently you hate, but it doesn't matter because most people
my body doesn't like it. It hurts my body. Also with this transition piece, and I want to remember to say this, when you get scared or you're feeling depressed, especially like when going through transition or other changes, or if there's other changes happening in your life, take time for gratitude. Start saying, I am so grateful for, and it could be the lint on your shirt, but just put it out there that you're grateful for it. Feel it. Feel the gratefulness. I am grateful that the sun came up today. I am grateful for the stars. I am grateful for the grass. I am grateful for my bed or my blanket, or I'm grateful for the people.
Macaroni and cheese that you got. That was good.
Well, yeah, that was me daughter. Me daughter. Me daughter. So if you say the words out loud and truly mean it, it shifts you, and it will put you in a better headspace and heart space.
Ooh, that's nice. Because I think a thing you said before, and maybe somebody else said it, like you give what you get back what you give, kind of thing. So I think I was telling somebody about money, and I'm like, I feel scared spending this money on the camcorder, and you were kind of like, hey, if you're really stingy, then it's not going to come back to you because the universe is going to be like, okay, noted. You don't want to spend money. You're not going to get.
Well, actually, what will happen is if you're holding on to the money and not putting it out there so it can cycle through, because let's face it, everything keeps moving. The universe is constantly in motion.
Yes, it is.
And if you're going to hang on to the money and this little piece of money and be stingy with it, the universe is going to interpret it like, okay, she doesn't want any more. She only wants that little bit of amount, and that's all she's going to have.
Yeah.
So, but then if you're putting it out there to say, hey, I have a good feeling about money, the energy that comes with it is the energy of flow.
Oh, for sure.
So like if you're, obviously you have to be responsible, right?
Yeah.
But even in being responsible, it's just don't have resistance to it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what you were saying, resistance or attachments. And if you're letting go of those things and you're just saying, okay, I'm just going to go with this. We're just going to see where this goes. And I know that that's really hard to fully comprehend, especially when the money flow just seems to be trickling.
Oh, for sure.
You know,
We're just like,
or
where
like
is it?
next to nothing. And we
Coin
could probably do a whole podcast on this one.
Yeah.
And please know I've been there.
Yeah.
I've fully been there with 2 little kids.
Yeah.
But just being grateful for what you have.
Oh, for sure.
And being grateful that that's there, then that sends the message too. And then gratefully paying for the bill. I am so grateful that I can pay this bill.
Yeah.
Or I'm so grateful I can pay a small portion of that bill, but I'm grateful to be able to do that. And gratefully do it. And it's in that you're now shifting the energy is attached to the money. And it's an exchange of energy opposed to lack.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Right?
I've never met a stingy person that was like the most, I don't know. Do you ever like walk in a room? This usually happens to me. People who are usually, not saying you have to give your money away, but more people who are like a little like, okay, it's okay that I'm like, you know, giving money on doing this and that and the other thing. I'm not saying it right, but you know what I mean. As opposed to someone who's like really stingy. They're usually the ones who are like more cranky.
But like the misers.
Yeah.
What you're describing.
Yeah.
Sort of like, the Christmas Carol.
Exactly. You know, they're usually stingy and just like, and you know, my favorite saying is there's never going to be enough money. Cause like, I know some people will see millionaires and stuff like that, but you even see, I don't know how true it is, but they'll be like, oh, this person had millions, but they're bankrupt. Like, you know, I don't know. Money is just such a fickle thing, but I think, you know, kind of what you're saying makes sense. Like, hey, you know, just don't be so attached to it.
Yeah, and transition it from it being money to it being energy. It's an exchange of energy. So like now I've given out the energy of service to somebody, so they're now going to give me back the energy of the money that I then am going to exchange for the energy that was expended on giving me electric to my house.
Oh, for sure.
Right. So if you just look at it, it's like it's a flow, and it's just going to keep flowing, and then being grateful for it all. We did kind of get a little more into another topic other than just transitioning, but we'll try and make that work. So we're just going to transition our feelings on money, around money.
Around money. All right.
So if anybody would be interested in hearing more about that, then find Sherry and let her know.
All right. I will circle my energy back to you and tell you, hey, we're going to talk about money. Maybe that'll be your next podcast.
Maybe, we never know, right?
We never know.
All right. Thank you, Sherry, again for the topic. I really do truly love having these conversations with you.
Thank you so much. I guess I'll let you do the sign off, right?
Well, thank you for that too. And thank you for listening. Have a good one. Thank you for tuning in. Remember that you are bigger than anything that you are going through or anything that is happening around you.